Chapter 32, Section 3 continued. So, with where we left off, there's just chaos breaking out in France. You got those three estates. The first and the second won't meet with the third. The third forms a national assembly. Chaos breaks out when mobs take over Paris, kill the mayor, storm the Bastille. Rumors start spreading that nobles are going to hire bandits, brigands to destroy peasants' homes. So peasants, they attack nobles' homes first. I mean, things are changing in France. And so the National Assembly decides now's the time to act. And they're going to do away with the privileges of the clergy and the nobles, those first and second estates. In the National Assembly on August 27th of 1789, they passed a Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen, which has ideas in it like, people are born free and equal. The government's right to rule comes from the people. Freedom of speech, the right of people to share in the government. A lot of the ideas of this document come from the philosophers and English and American Revolution ideas. So the National Assembly needs to work hard to pay off what the government owed. Because remember, France was in debt. And so one of the things they're going to do is they're going to sell the church land to peasants. You had some peasants, for the first time ever, own land. Now, the Roman Catholic Church is angry about this. The Roman Catholic clergy are going to be even more angered when they're told that they shouldn't be appointed to their jobs. The people should elect them. They should choose their clergy. And they should swear an oath to the government that they won't go against the government. The church does not like this. The church did not like being under the state's authority. The National Assembly is going to work for 2 years to write a constitution. And in 1791, they finish. And this constitution is going to make France a constitutional monarchy. They didn't necessarily do away with the ruler, but what they said was the ruler's power was limited by written law, by this constitution. The crown and the legislature would govern together. Representatives and voters now need some wealth to qualify, though. Now, this makes the bourgeoisie happy. They get the power they wanted. But the problem is those peasants and those sans-culottes, those city workers, they're unhappy. They don't have money. They can't vote if they don't have money. You just ruled them out of voting. Many of these ideas spread to other countries. And what goes down is this. Rulers fear the weakening of their own power. They see what's happening in France. And they're like, well, if that spreads to our country, that's no good. And French immigrants, these political exiles, they want the rulers to go help out Louis XVI. Hey, why doesn't our ruler help out Louis XVI? We don't want this happening in our country, your country. We're sent to your country because France doesn't like us anymore. Maybe you should go help them out. Some want war to help unite the French people, bring it back together. So the way this goes down is this. France declares war on Austria first. The Queen's brother, so, Marie Antoinette, her brother ruled in Austria. And so they don't want Austria to come to France's rescue. So France, they go after Austria. The war starts off pretty rough for France. In August, you've got Austrian and Prussian armies headed to Paris. And the sans-culottes had taken over Paris, and they set up a new government in Paris called the National Convention. And they've now made France a republic. And in 1793, they have Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette executed. More countries are going to join in this war against France. Other countries are worried that these revolutionary ideas are going to spread to them, and their rulers are worried that they're going to lose power. So more countries join in this war against France. The new government had to take action. They write a new constitution that never gets put into action, though, because the government is going to be taken over by the Committee of Public Safety, which is going to be led by a lawyer by the name of Maximilien de Robespierre. Thousands are going to be executed because they're suspected to be against the revolution. This ends up become known as the Reign of Terror. They estimate 40,000 people were executed during the Reign of Terror. And the choice of execution style is going to be the guillotine. It's this machine with a heavy blade held up between two posts, and they release it, and it comes crashing down, and it just cuts off the head. People begin to go against Robespierre. And actually, in 1794, Robespierre is executed by the guillotine. In 1795, a third constitution is going to be written. This time, it sets up a government called the Directory. It also has an executive branch with 5 directors. The only people that can vote in the Directory are landowners. And most of those revolutionary reforms that they had been having for all these years end. And the French people grow more conservative. They don't want all this change. This Directory is going to spend a lot of its time handling food shortages and rising prices and the government going bankrupt and people, foreign countries are attacking France. That's what they spent their time doing. But there were some reforms that did stay. The idea that the people get to choose their government, that stayed. You also see the metric system come about. The metric system is this standard system of weights and measures. The National Assembly, they adopted it in 1791, and it's based on the powers of 10. It's really going to help out with experiments, international trade. Basically, everybody in the world today uses it except for us. We still use things like inches and feet and miles, and that's what we're used to, so it's easy for us. But honestly, the metric system, if you were used to it, it would just make so much more sense. And, well, everybody uses it except for us.